Okay, welcome back. I think you've all already seen some great discussions about PSA, Production Systems Automation. Right now we are in Duryea, Pennsylvania. My name is Marty Wolf, and I'm with Joe Redding, Mike McHale, and Jake Hall. So Jake Hall has been our guest here at PSA, and he's been touring for several hours now. You've experienced a lot of the exciting things going on at PSA. So Jake, you're now representing the Wall Street Journal. And you have to write a story about PSA. What's that going to say?
Well, I mean, you gotta start with a fun title, right? You know, something that captures the front page and all that stuff. So for me, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I would start off with land, sea, and air, and that would be my catch, like land, sea, and air of automation, as the title for that. And the reason why I would come up with something like that is because while touring the different buildings here and facilities, we saw different solutions that were literally in the land that's working with robots and automation, the sea that's going on aircraft carriers for solutions within the DoD, and then air, for example, if the drones are in front of us, they're getting launched up and used for communication and information. So I think for me, it's one of those things where it goes to show the diversity of manufacturing that can exist. We think of custom automation machine builders and manufacturers. In a lot of cases, there's this very much of a picture that's already painted on what a company can do and the type of solutions that they create and deploy and develop in the engineer. But touring the facility here, like, it's one of those things where a custom automation machine builder really can push custom to a whole nother level of diversity of products that they manufacture.
Yes.
Everything from painting to food and bev over to here to aerospace to solutions that are going on aircraft carriers to information systems that are given to pilots that you're manufacturing. I hope I said it broad enough at that time where we're not going to beep it out. But I think those type of technologies and solutions goes to show that, hey, custom automation can really deploy anywhere. And I think that's what makes our industry so exciting, and what makes what PSA so exciting and what you guys are doing is that I've learned is, hey, you're automating this and this and this and this, and I was like, but that's not connected to that. But then after I talked with Mike, he said, well, listen, I have an engineer that can do it this way, so why couldn't we just do it that way?
Yeah.
And that would be my Wall Street Journal summary.
Okay, well, you're not done. You still have more interviewing to do. So, for instance, what would you ask Mike McHale about his company?
Okay.
Let's go down culture, leadership.
There we go. What were you thinking? That would be so. But in all seriousness, so you guys are expanding rapidly. You're taking up on a lot of projects. What was your vision when you first started, when you joined PSA and you're the CEO, and where was your vision then and where's your vision now?
I think the vision was always somewhat the same. The vision was always to use engineering, our in-house engineering capacity and our manufacturing capacity to grow our business in any market segment we thought.
Yeah.
So everything we do at PSA always revolves around some portion of engineering and or a portion of manufacturing. And sometimes there's more manufacturing with a little bit of engineering, but most of the time there's a lot of engineering with a minor amount of manufacturing. Mm-hmm. That was always the vision. So the vision of the growing out of the company is just that. We're looking for more manufacturing opportunities, and we're looking for engineering opportunities. Engineering opportunities to be able to deploy robots like this one here, or manufacturing opportunities to help other OEMs increase their capacity.
Yeah. And I think what's exciting is when you look at where we are here in Northeast Pennsylvania, there's a large, diverse amount of manufacturers and end users. Everything from food and bev to automotive to aerospace to DoD work to ammunition and armament. And it's one of those things that it's really what makes a custom automation builder a custom automation machine builder is you go in there, you find the problems that companies are struggling with, and you find solutions that help solve those problems.
How has your vision changed? Has it changed from where you started?
If you look at our company history, or you look at our vision document we put together a couple of years ago, our vision, our 5-year vision, we've almost hit our 5-year vision in 2.5 years. And we're going to have to go back and re-game plan that 5-year vision because we've kind of hit where we wanted to be. We've grown into a much larger facility. We'll be approaching 100 employees by the end of the year, and the growth of the company just keeps going. And we're looking to expand in all opportunities.
truthfully, having you here joining us is part of that vision and that growth strategy, right? To get visibility and more touch points, to PSA. So that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to bring you out here and show you what we can do.
So Joe, as director of sales and business development, what excites you when you're going out there and you're meeting with existing clients and future clients and learning about what problems they're trying to solve? What excites you knowing what resources exist with PSA?
Well, that's just it. It's the excitement of knowing what resources and capabilities that we have. Because if you don't have the capabilities or the capacity to perform, right, you're kind of preaching maybe the wrong story. But if you can go out and tell the story of how successful we've become and how the company started with five individuals in a small shop in Aston, Pennsylvania, to now having this 100,000 square foot of manufacturing space here in Duryea and having a headquarter campus here. It's a very good story to tell, and having a group of individuals like we have, not only just here, but after the 3 locations, the one in Aston and Lawrence, Pennsylvania, we are just a very, very talented group. So knowing that you have the talent, the capability, and the capacity, it kind of really makes it an easier sell when you're going out and meeting with clients to understand their needs and know that you have some way, somehow to solve that problem, whether it is automation or robotics or custom hard automation, or maybe if they just need help with some fabrication needs. We have that ability to kind of take control and quote to their needs, and it's pretty exciting.
So can you share a story of how, I guess you could say, automation has evolved to where a company thought that automation wouldn't be able to be a solution for them, and a robotic system or a vision inspection system, or something when you're working with vision or AI, has been able to really bring automated solutions to their company in a way that's benefited them, that they thought was a challenging opportunity?
Talk about dormant. Now that the Prius battery reassembling and testing solution. So that actually won an ABB Sustainability Award in automation back in 2021. So that system essentially would bring in battery cells for Prius, for the EV. And each cell had to be cataloged. So we test each cell, and then we noted what voltage it was in the system. We had, 4,000?
Yeah. 6,000
cells around like an octagon around the robot. And then when it called to bring that battery and they needed to make one, they would bring 12 cells out, retest them, make sure they're all in alignment and all charged appropriately, and send it out. And before, they never even thought they could automate that. It was like, we just got to do it manually. We have a test bench, we got to test every cell, we catalog our cells, and we'll do it by manual. And they had reject after reject, unfortunately, but then they put the automation in, rejects were minimized, and their throughput went up 65%, I believe it was. Yeah, so that, great story of, a company that was looking to expand and increase capacity, didn't really understand how they were going to do it, and if they could automate it, but yet, we were able to pull something together for them.
Yeah, if you look at how complex automation has got today, so if you think about this drone, and obviously we're working on hardware design, circuit board design, and software design. Well, now we have many of our systems, we need to use software design to touch Amazon Cloud or AWS and pull data down and transfer data back and forth. 5 years ago, there wasn't too many automation companies doing that. Mm-hmm. Now we do that on a pretty regular basis. So now we have computer programmers, electrical engineers, hardware engineers. So we're melding all that engineering talent into one house.
Yeah.
So when you come to PSA, we can develop from AI solutions and software solutions all the way through manufacturing of all your products. So your designs, drawings never hit the street. We take care of your painting needs, machining needs, sheet metal needs, and all your data is safe.
And I think that was a big thing when, some of the projects we can't talk about when walking through there, but I think that was definitely something that I know some of the customers appreciate, right? When you're kind of a one-stop shop for all the components from assembly to, from assembly to fabrication to machining the parts to then putting it all together, then to then testing it and then shipping out the door. It's all in a house, which a lot of times is really it's required for. Is it ITAR? Is that the correct terminology I'm using for standards for DoD contracting? So, what would you say? when you're a custom automation machine builder, and we're going to be visiting local community colleges tomorrow that you guys are a part of with Lackawanna College and First Robotics teams, what are you seeing excite this next generation? Are you seeing the prospects of them? Do their eyes light up when they say, oh, we could be doing DoD work? Is it robotics work? What do you see gets this next generation excited when it comes to the technology that you guys are able to make and work with?
I think it's technology. It's coming in and seeing cool things and knowing that manufacturing is not a dirty. It's not a dirty job anymore necessarily. Manufacturing is a high tech job. You can work in a manufacturing facility, be programming robots, programming PLCs, writing code. And there's a dirty aspect to some manufacturing plants, but then there's clean aspects.
Yeah.
And that the industrial footprint is changing, not just locally here in the Pennsylvania market, but across the country. We're doing a lot more manufacturing. There's way more onshoring here into the U.S., and the opportunities are going to grow. And these are not bad jobs. They're great jobs.
Oh yeah.
They're entertaining. They're fun. Every day you're going to come in and have a new problem, a new solution, and it's going to constantly change. And you get to evolve. And you, as the employee or as the engineer, gets to evolve as technology evolves, and it's going to be forever.
Well, and I think that's what's exciting about when you look at this next generation of millennials and Gen Zs. They want to be challenged, but they also want to be able to say they created something. They were impactful on what they did, contributed to something bigger. Exactly. And so when we walk through, the R&D department that's working on the drone stations, you could see the passion that exists within the people that are working there. And I think when you enable a passion, it's one thing that it makes you a lot more attractive to this next generation. So I think that you want to speak more on that.
I also think it's when you can work on a project and automate or change something that makes a product or an item you find in the grocery store or in the store, and you knew how it was made and how it got shipped to that store, and you had a hand in touching it. Every time you walk into a store and a machine automated that mug, and I touched it. I worked on a product that touched every one of those mugs. It's just cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, and I think it's leads to that diversification, and people get excited when there's diversity, and it's not always doing the same old job. It's like they have an opportunity to work on a robotic system or a custom automated system like that, the scrap chopper back there. So not getting bogged down into the same old doldrums, it's just really exciting. And even to my sales guys, for them, when they go out and look at an application and trying to solve a problem, and they start sketching up some concepts, right? And then they present a sketched up concept to the client, and they were awarded that project. Then you get to see, here's my sketch that I sold this job at. Then I get to see it out on the floor, and then the whole team working on it, pull it together.
Or mounted on the back of a Humvee.
Or mounted on the back of the Humvee, right? Yeah, so it's a really cool from all aspects,
yeah.
whether you're young or old. It's just being in automation is exciting, no matter your age, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say to other business leaders that are out there who might be afraid of expanding, or I guess you could say afraid of taking that next step? What words of encouragement would you give them, Mike, on moving forward and trusting your employees to keep that business growing?
I think it comes for leadership in the business. It's real simple. Innovation is going to happen with you or without you. And if you want to sit back and say that in my company, the only thing that's going to innovate is going to come through me as the owner or the CEO of the company, that's probably a bad way. We have dozens of engineers here, and everybody has great ideas. And it's just not the engineers. Sometimes our fabricators, our machinists, they come up with better ideas. As everyone adds to the process, let the smart people in the room add thought into your business. And if you allow people to be part of your business and direct your business in a way, you're going to be more successful. You can't lead 80 or 90 people and think you're going to make every decision or know what's going on in every possible aspect. It's just not possible. So it's opening the company up and letting the innovation drive itself.
Yeah.
there's some business owners really do not have a desire to continue to grow the business at a rate in which PSA is growing, and have that foresight to do that. They're very happy with being where they're at. They could be say a $10-12 million business, right? And they employ 20, 30 people, and they're very happy with that, and they want to just maintain that. I think what attracted me when I came to PSA, when Mike shared his vision with me, and I could see that vision, and I wanted to be a part of that growth. So he's very forward thinking, and that's the reason why we're here today, in this facility, growing the way we're growing. Yeah. But you got to make the move. You got to understand it's an investment, and he's got the balls to make the investment.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put yourself out there. There's risk. The world we live in, this innovation world and the robotics world, the automation world, it's not going away. It's not shrinking. There's no contraction. There will be year-over-year double-digit growth for decades. If there's a time to take a chance in your business, or you're an innovative leader, now's the time.
Yeah.
If you wait too long, it's going to pass you by. The goal for PSA is we're going to be hundreds of employees in 36 months. And if you don't have that vision, you can't get there.
I look at it as this building here used to be a manufacturer for railroad, right?
Yeah,
Railroad products. So
Yeah.
I use a train analogy for that, since we're sitting in that, I look at automation and AI and the technology as it's a slow rolling train right now. And, it's one of those things that's you need to get on now, because that train's going to keep getting faster and faster, and it's going to speed up, and early adopters are going to get more comfortable with the train and all that stuff and the controls and how that works. But eventually that train is just going to get so far, you're never going to be able to catch it.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, we're now working on AWS interfacing. We're on AI vision and AI vision collection. That's going to accelerate. And if you're not part of that spinning wheel at this point, you will be left behind.
Jake, I think too that go back to Joe's point that if you are in a certain stage of your business life, you may be deciding to say, okay, I want to coast, whatever the right word is. And I think someone who may want to innovate maybe aren't sure how to do that. And I think that's where they've come in to a lot of people. Some people come and say, oh, I want to do this, but I have no idea how to do it. Can you help me? Can you guide me? And that's what they've done a really good job of. So many of their clients and customers are here because someone just simply reached out to them, said, I know I need to do this, but I have no clue how to do it. That's where they've come in. Would you agree, Mike?
As clients are seeing more and more needs, the people to plug the needs, there's not going to be enough of us. We need to innovate more. Other automation company owners and other automation teams need to grow, or we're not going to be able to satisfy the U.S. manufacturing needs.
For sure.
Anything to wrap up that story they just wrote for the major newspaper going across the world? Anything to wrap up?
I think if I were to walk away with, of touring the 4 different buildings so far here, it's opened up my eyes on showcasing that manufacturing is so many different things. It's way more than what you think is still not anywhere what you thought you knew. Yeah. And maybe I completely phrased that wrong, but when I walk into here and I had this idea of PSA and looking at your website, and Joe and Mike and I talking, and then all of a sudden I walk into a room and be like, here's literally hundreds of drones laid out across the table with hundreds of other devices that are a part of these drones, and I'm looking at this and saying, I had no clue this even existed. I had no clue this was even something that was being looked at. Yeah. And it just immediately just opens up your mind. And we walk into another building that has a bunch of robots working with a bunch of stuff that pilots work with and operate with. I'm thinking, I had no idea that even existed. And I think this is the one thing is manufacturing still struggles with this box of what we define it as. Mm-hmm. And until we actually get to open up and look inside that box, we'll never truly understand what manufacturing and automation and custom solutions actually have to offer.
Jake, it's been a pleasure having you today, and we have an exciting next couple of days, Lackawanna College tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Marty, thanks so much for inviting me, and then of course Joe and Mike as well. Appreciate it.